Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Nitya Leela Pravishta Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Satchitananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ की श्री श्री पंच तत्व की श्री नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई प्रभु सुदर्शन की श्री श्री गौर निताय की बृहद भागवतामृत की गंगा माई यमुना माई की वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की अयोध्यापुरी धाम की all close to assembled devotees, all close to assembled devotees, all close to assembled devotees, all close to Sri Guru Gauranga Jagat Guru Sri Prabhupada ki jai. उमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनाभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरों वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे Today's text 30, right? 16 to 32. So we'll just read the translation from 16 till 29 and then repeat the shloka of 30, the shloka number 30. Is that okay? Dhruv Maharaj's bow and arrow twanged and hissed, causing lamentation in the hearts of his enemies. He began to shoot incessant arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as the blasting wind scatters the assembled clouds in the sky. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruv Maharaj pierced the shields and bodies of the enemy, like the thunderbolts released by the King of Heaven, which dismantled the bodies of the mountains. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, the head of those who were cut to pieces to the arrow of Dhruv Maharaj Maharaj were decorated. With helmets and turbans, and when they were dead, the booty was taken by the enemy parties. Their falling dead in the battle with their many golden ornamental tresses was certainly a lucrative opportunity for the heroes on the battlefield. Text 20. The remaining yakshas who somehow or other were not killed had their limbs cut to pieces by the arrows of great warrior Dhruv Maharaj. Thus they began to flee just as elephants flee when defeated by a lion. Dhruv, Dhruv Maharaj, the best of human beings, observed that, that in that great battlefield, no one of the opposing soldiers was left standing with proper weapons. He then dressed, he then desired to see the city of Alkapuri, but he thought to himself, no one knows the plans of the mystic yakshas. In the meantime, while Dhruv Maharaj doubtful of his mystic enemies was talking to his charioteer, they heard a tremendous sound of as if the whole ocean were there, and they found that from the sky a great dust storm was coming over them from all over directions. Within a moment, the whole sky was overcast with dense clouds, and severe thunderstorm was heard. There was glittering electric lightning and several rainfall. My dear faultless Vidur, in that rainfall there was blood, mucus, pus, stool, urine, marrow falling heavily before the Maharaj, and there was trunks of bodies falling from the sky. Next, a great mountain was visible in the sky from all directions. Hailstones fell, along with with lances, clubs, swords, iron blood corns, and great pieces of stone. Dhruv Maharaj also saw many big serpents with angry eyes vomiting forth fire and coming to devour him, along with groups of mad elephants, lions, and tigers. Then, as if it were the time of the dissolution of the whole world, the fierce sea, with foaming waves and great roaring sounds, came forward before him. The demon yakshas are by the nature very heinous, and by their demoniac power of illusion, they can create many strange phenomena to frighten one who is less intelligent. When the great sage heard that Dhruv Maharaj was overpowered by the illusionary mystic tricks of demons, they immediately assembled to offer him auspicious encouragement. So we're on text 30 now. Munaya Uvacha Autanapad Bhagavan Stava Sarangadhanba Deva Shinto Avantari Haro Vipakshan Yannamadheyam Adidyanisham Michata Lokonjasa Taranti Dushtaram Angam Rityum Munya Uvacha Otanapad Bhagavam Stava Sharangandhanva Deva Shitonva Avantari Harat Vipakshan Yannamadheyam Abhidhaya Nishamya Chada Lokonjasa Taranti Dushtaram Angar Mrityum Munya Uvacha Otanapad Bhagavam Stava Sharangadanva Devashitonvavantari haro vipakshan. Yannamadheyamabidya nishamya chadda. Lokoncha satarati dushtaram angam mrityam. Word to word translation. Oh, sorry. Please repeat. For some Namadheyamabidyanisham mechaha. Would Mataji's like to recite? So I'll say and you repeat. Munya uchuhu Otanapad bhagavam stava sharangadhanva Devashitonva ana avantarati haro vipakshan Yannamadheyamabidaya nishamya chadda Lokonjasa taranti dustaramangam mrityum. Word, word by word translation. Munya Uchu, the sages said, O Tanapada, O son of King Uttanapada, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tava, your Sharanga Dhanva, one who bears the bow called Sharanga, Deva, the Lord, Shinto, may he kill, Avanata of the surrendered souls, Arti, the distresses, Haraha, he removes, who removes, Vipakshan, enemies, Yat, whose, Namadheyam, holy name, Abhidya, uttering, Nishamya, hearing, Cha, also, Odha, immediately, Loka, persons, Anjasa, fully, Tarati, overcome, and Dushtaram, insurmountable, Anga, Odruva, Mrityam, death. Translation. All the sages said, Dear Dhruva, O son of King Uttanapada, May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Saranga Dhanva, who relieves the distress of his devotees, kill all your threatening enemies. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting and hearing the holy names of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fierce death without difficulty. Thus a devotee is saved. Purport: the great rishis approached Dhruv Maharaj at a time when his mind was very perplexed due to magical feats exhibited by the yakshas. A devotee is also protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his inspiration only. The sages come to encourage Dhruv Maharaj and assure him that there was no danger because he was a soul fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord. By the grace of the Lord, if a devotee at the time of death can simply chant his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this Mahamantra, he immediately surpasses the great ocean of material sky and enters the spiritual sky. He never has to come back for repetition of birth and death. Simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can surpass the ocean of death. So Dhruv Maharaj was certainly able to surpass the illusionary magical feats of the yakshas, which for the time being disturbed his mind. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhruv Maharaj's Fight with the Yakshas. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devi saraswatim vyasam tado jayam udiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nishtiki. So today's class is basically glorifying the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord, and it's talking about the importance of taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. So, which is from a neophyte perception, a pretty boring topic, because we every day we're just chanting 16 rounds, and we're thinking when will the next yuga come, and the yuga dharma will change, and I'll get to perform the yagyas, or I'll get to do something more, functional, or more. I just have to bear through the 16 rounds, just 2 hours, and complete my rounds because I took vows in front of my Guru Maharaj, or I'm chanting this Mahamantra, but when will this Mahamantra not be Maha anymore? Because it's so tiring and so exhausting. I was listening to a lecture on Upadesh Amrit, and they were talking about Vacho Vegam. So the speaker was saying that's why Prabhupada introduced the 16 rounds. That's why Prabhupada introduced the chanting of the 16 rounds, because you're so exhausted doing those 16 rounds that after that you don't have any energy left to do any prajalp or to do any gossip. So you're so tired that you're done for the day. Your quota of speaking is done for the day because you're just chanting. So as if now only our there are different levels of chanting the holy names, and we're barely even on the level of Nama Bhas. It's mostly Nama Prat. But so from an external perception, if we have that consciousness, then today's class will be one of the most boring classes, because it's just talking about the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. But if you actually recognize that the verse from Srimad, we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Tango Pangasta Parshadam Yagya Sankirtanai Pray Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. So I think it's the conversation between Karbhajan and Nimi Maharaj, where Karbhajan Muni is saying Yajanti Hi Sumedasa, the intelligent people will perfect their lives through the process of chanting the holy names. So if we take refuge of that verse, which is describing the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's coming to the material world to bestow the process of chanting the holy names. So Mahaprabhu would say that I'm a fruit vendor who has fruits, but how much can a single person do? So I need all the people in my mission, all the people in my movement to help me distribute these fruits of chanting the holy names. Something which delivered even Jagai and Madhai. Oftentimes when in temples on Gaur Purnima they have Nityananda Trayodasi specifically, they have those dramas, and two devotees are enacting Jagai and Madhai, and they're like they're coming out, and it's pretty humorous. It's pretty you know they become an object of mockery because they're loose and the way they walk and the way they would show Jagai and Madhai. But if Jagai and Madhai would actually come in front of you, you wouldn't laugh. You would tremble. You would tremble with fear, because they were those ghastly demons whom the Yamraj were keeping the attendants of Yamraj. They were getting tired keeping the records of, and they would themselves keep a record of how many women they raped, how many cows they slaughtered, and how many children they killed, and how many old people they they manhandled. So they would themselves keep a record of this, and these people would deliver Taro Sakshi Jagai Madhai, that the power of the holy names, the Supreme Lord in all his incarnations is killing the demons, but in his most magnanimous incarnation, where he's propagating the congregational chanting of the holy names. Sango Pangasta Parshada Yagya Sankirtanai Praya Jantihi Sumedasa. So he's propagating the need to take the shelter of Krishna's holy names. He's not killing the demons, but he's killing the demoniac propensities of theirs. So if we take shelter of that thought, if we actually take refuge of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his congregation and his process of self-realization, then today's class will be very important for us, and we'll try not to sleep. So this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is quoted often, is Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koroi Udoy. That Krishna consciousness, or love for Krishna, or love for the process of chanting the holy names of Krishna, is not something which we have to inculcate in us. It's not through a process you inculcate the love of Krishna. It is dormant in us. It is pre-existing, and Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Koroi Udoy, through hearing, through Shravanam and Kirtanam, that sleeping dormant love is awakened. So it is present in every soul's heart, because as Prabhupada would say, that originally everyone is Krishna. All of us are Krishna conscious entities. So we all are conscious of Krishna, and we all have that love for Krishna Prem in our hearts. But Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karoi Udoy. So by listening and by chanting the holy names of the Lord, it is awakened in our hearts. So but we are chanting 16 rounds every day. We aren't feeling, we are trying to awaken it. But why are we not feeling those ecstasies in Chaitanya Charitamrita? I think this verse is by Rupa Goswami. He says, Tunde Tandavini Rati Vitanute Tandavali Labdhaye Karna Krodha Kadambini Ghatayite Karna Bhutibhyas Priyam Cheta Prangana Sangini Vijayate Sarvendriya Kritim न जाने जनिता कियाद्भीर अमृता कृष्णेति वर्णद्वयी. That tunde tandavini rati vitanute tundavali labdhaye. So when I'm just listening to the holy names, I demand millions of ears. And so when the holy names enter through the ears of my body and enters into my heart, all my senses become inert, and it dances in the courtyard of my heart. Karna krodha kadambini ghatayate karna budebhyas priyam cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim. And he demands millions of mouths, and his senses are completely conquered, and he's completely in ecstasy when he's listening and chanting the holy names. But we are every day massaging our beads, but we aren't feeling that love for Krishna. And it says Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema sadhya kabu hoy. Sadhya kabu nai. That it is there inside our hearts, but we were just not feeling it. Because it is said that, even the beautiful bhajan, Keno Hare Krishna Nam, also talks about it. It says that why is the bird of my heart not attracted, not attached to the chanting of the holy names? So if the scriptures say that the process of the Kali Yuga is to take the shelter of the holy names, as Srimad Bhagavatam quotes, says, Yajanti hi sumaitasa. If Chaitanya Charitamrit, which is like the gospel of which talks about the deepest intricacies of love. We see conversations between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is saying that don't say ahead, because beyond this cannot be spoken, cannot be heard, and cannot be described. So we have the supreme gospel, and that gospel is saying that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoy Shravanadi Shruddha Chitta Koray Udoy, that it is there in our hearts. And great authorities like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and others, and Srila Prabhupada, they're talking about the process of and the importance of chanting the holy names of the Lord in bhajans like Keno Hare Krishna Nam. Then why aren't we feeling that love for Krishna when we are chanting 16 rounds? We are getting initiated. We are doing everything which we are trying to control our senses. Then still we are not feeling that love for Krishna. Why is that? So that bhajan, Jiva Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Kotha Nitra Jaya Maya Pisha Chira Kole. That wake up, O sleeping soul, you're sleeping in the laps of this witch called Maya, and you have to wake up. Because so why is this happening is because one, because we not fully taking the shelter of the holy names, and second, we need to understand the importance of serving devotees. Recently we had Haridas Thakur's disappearance day, and I was listening to Srila Prabhupada's lecture. I was not listening to a lecture, but it was just a reel I was scrolling through Instagram, and Prabhupada was saying that if you try to imitate Haridas Thakur and think that you'll go in seclusion and do Hare Krishna bhajan, just like Nirjan bhajan, just like Haridas Thakur, you will not survive, and you won't be able to do it for long, because Haridas Thakur was an exceptional case. But you really need to take shelter of the holy names. You really need to take the association of the devotees. We see this in Maharaj, in Bharat Maharaj's pastime. He renounced everything. It is said, just as a person passes stool and just doesn't even look at it and just moves on. That's how Bharat Maharaj renounced all his family, kingdom, and all his opulent lifestyle, and just gave up everything and just renounced everything and just went to the forest and did ekant bhajan, nirjan bhajan towards the Supreme Lord. But a person like that, we don't have much to lose, but he was the king of the entire world. The entire world was his kingdom, and he gave up everything, completely detached, but still being caught up. Kotha nidra jayo maya pishachira gole. Maya came in the form of that deer, and he got attached to that deer, and he lost. I wouldn't say he lost, because neha vikramanasasti pratyavayo na vidyati salpamasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. You don't lose any spiritual credits, but I'd say he was misled by Maya through that deer into that pit, and he gave up his life thinking about that deer when he was supposed to. Prabhupada is talking about whoever gives up his life chanting the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Whoever is chanting this mantra and giving up his life is going back home, back to Godhead. So, and it is mentioned, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatri Vidhi Vina Ekantino Harer Bhakti Utpataiva Kalpayate. So if even if you're doing bhakti, but it is not according to the rules and regulations of Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, and Pancharatri, then Ekantino Harer Bhakti, that type of Hari Bhakti also is Utpataiva Kalpate. It is just it is simply a nuisance in the society. It is not leading the society anywhere. That is why Srila Prabhupada, he's introducing this way, in introducing this process where you don't prematurely imitate great personalities like Haridas Thakur, but you understand the importance of sadhu sangha. You understand the importance that we need each other. Srila Radhanath Maharaj, he would often quote uh, the story of the redwood trees. He would talk about the redwood trees, where I think, if I'm not wrong, it's in California, where all these redwood trees, they're in a place, they're in an atmosphere where there are continuous cyclones, and these trees are thousands of years old, and they're on a hilly region. So the only way that, and their roots, so the only way they could survive that ambience would be their roots would really go deep into the soil. But surprisingly, the roots don't go that deep. But what happens is that they go sideways. So the the roots of one redwood tree would interlock with the other redwood tree, and if any new redwood tree which would grow, so the old redwood tree's roots would go and interlock itself with the roots of the new redwood tree, and they would just be interlocked together. So when cyclones come, or when it's a hilly slopey area, in that kind of an area also, they're able to survive for thousands of years. Why? Because they have the association of each other. So realizing the importance of sadhu sangha, so, this verse was quoted by Srila Radhanath Maharaj in one of his lectures. Shushrushoda Dadanasya Vasudeve Katharuchi Shanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Niveshayat. So unless and until we get the favor of the devotees, we get the, every day we um, chanting, we reciting the 10 holy names, the 10 offenses to the holy names, and then we offering the Vaishnava pranams to all the Vaishnavas, seeking refuge in their lotus feet, so that we get taste in holy names. So Srila Radhanath Maharaj, he would quote this verse, and he would say that it is very important for the devotees to stay united and for the devotees to stay together. Only then can we understand the love and the deepest mellows of the holy names. Now this might seem very not related together. How can chanting and sadhu sangha, how are they interrelated? But it is very crucial to understand, because as I was talking, discussing, as I was narrating the gospel of love, which is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. What exactly is Chaitanya Charitamrita? It is just Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emotions and his outbursts, which he would display with his intimate associates like Ramananda Roy or Sarup Damodar, and what he would do, his pastimes with devotees in Puri and his associates. So the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita is all about how Mahaprabhu is dealing with devotees, dealing with different kind of Vaishnavas. There are some Vaishnavas who with whom Mahaprabhu dances, and there are some very confidential associates with whom Mahaprabhu shares his deepest realizations and his deepest outbursts of ecstasy in Shiva Sangam. So all of this, Mahaprabhu being the not even being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, experiencing the mood of Srimati Radharani through chanting of the congregational names. He himself is having such beautiful dealings with devotees, and he himself is taking so much sadhu sangha, so much association. He would go to Gadadhar Pandit, and uh, he would listen to the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. He would go to Namacharya Haridas Thakur, and he would sit for hours discussing Krishna Katha and the importance of chanting the holy names. So he himself is showing yad achariti shrestha. Through his acharan, he's showing that how one is supposed to take refuge of the association of devotees to advance in the process of the chanting of the holy names. So, one lesson we can learn from this is that, Dhruv Maharaj over here he's being favored by these sadhus. And why is he being favored by the sadhus? We see, I'll just go on in another example. When Bali, the pastime of Bali Maharaj was there, so Indra is asking his guru, how come Bali gained so much power? How come he got that Brahma Tejas, that he can conquer over my Amravati? How did he get these powers? And his guru is saying, because he got the favor of all the sages and he was able to please his guru Shukracharya. That's why he was able to conquer you. So at this point in time, you can't fight him, but only resolve for you is to flee away. So, and at that time, actually, his guru Buddha, uh, his guru was giving him a tip. He was actually giving him a under a bit a, in the context a secret. He was saying, because he was able to please his guru. If you would have been able to please your guru, because just chapters previous to this, we see Indra doing an offense towards his guru. So if you were able to please your guru, you could have got the similar position. So Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Niveshayat. So if we're able to have that association of devotees, if we're able to have that relationship with devotees, and if we humble ourselves and genuinely surrender with humility, one thing very specific to Srila Radhanath Maharaj's lectures is that all his lectures, most of them, would end with this verse: Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saheshnana Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadhari. That if one is more tolerant than the tree, one is more humble than the grass, and one doesn't desire any respect and is ready to give all respects to others, then they can experience the deepest rasa, the deepest ecstatic symptoms of chanting the holy names of the Lord. So chanting the holy names of the Lord, it all depends on our sincerity and our willingness, but it also depends on what kind of association we are in, what kind of dealings we have with the devotees. We shouldn't take devotees for granted. And it is often seen that after a couple of years we start being judgmental, because we start thinking that we're in a position to judge. I'm a senior devotee now. I wear a posh yellow bagalbandi, so now I can judge the person who has come in a t-shirt. Or I know brahmacharis over here don't do it, but I'm just giving it just for the sake of an example. I'm in saffron, so I can judge the person in yellow. In Delhi and other places in India, you have white, yellow, and orange. So now I can judge the person and harass the person in yellow, or I can just, because I'm a senior devotee now, so I can just walk over and do whatever I want. But our first day in the temple, we were so humble. Whatever service, kitchen service, yes, I'll do it. But now, I want to give Bhagavatam class. I think I should apply for Brahmin initiation so that I can serve the deities. And when I'm worshipping the deities, everyone in the congregation can see, this person is on the altar. He's so qualified. So that desire, and in this lecture, Srila Radhanath Maharaj was saying that for devotees, three things are very important. Three things we should really stay away from: the desire for prestige, the desire for wealth, and the desire for sense gratification. These three things, if someone is really able to, if someone really wishes to get those ecstasies, get access to the importance and the glories of the chanting of the holy names, then one should really guard themselves against these three desires, and really take the shelter of the lotus feet of the devotees. And sometimes we judge in a very subtle way. We think, so this person 2-3 years ago he would dress very simply, but now he's wearing a bagalbandi, now he's wearing a shawl, now he's wearing a fancy kanti. Why is that? Does he think that he's a senior devotee now? Is that the reason? but we should think that the fact that he's wearing a kanti, the fact that he could wear the most the fanciest clothes and go to a pub and drink, but he chose wearing a fancy dhoti and coming to the temple. The fact that he chose to come and seek association with the devotees is something we should be grateful about, and we should in gratitude we should welcome that person, and we should um, in a very non-judgmental way, we should understand that बहु जन्म जन्मादि यदि करे श्रवण कीर्तन तब तना पाए कृष्ण प्रेमदान. We the one of the offenses to the holy names is to blaspheme the devotees who have taken shelter of the holy names. So in that mood, and finding ourselves very unqualified, in gratitude we should welcome anyone who's coming to the temple with open arms, anyone who's desiring to take shelter of Sri Krishna or Srimati Radharani, and help them in whatever way we can, and really surrender ourselves, realizing the need to really take the refuge of devotee association. Because if we continue to do this, there won't be any more devotees to take refuge of, and then you land you do ekanti no Hare Bhakti, you do Nirjan Bhajan, and it's possible that you might not be seen in the temple or in Krishna consciousness in 5-3 years down the line. So chanting the holy names of the Lord and having good relationships and really taking refuge at the lotus feet of devotees is something which can really help us in our Krishna consciousness. And we see this, that Dhruv Maharaj is doing that. Dhruv Maharaj took refuge of these sages, and these sages then instructed him on remembering the Supreme Lord, and they encouraged him. So in a Vaishnava association, what happens is you are encouraged. If Bharat Maharaj had someone to encourage him and get him on the right path back, that theek hai, okay, you took care of the deer, but now you have your dear Lord waiting for you. So take refuge at his lotus feet again, and again continue your spiritual practices. Only then, only if he had someone to guide him, would he not have met with the fate he met. That's a separate thing, that he ultimately received the mercy of the Lord. But still, I'm just making a point. So having good relationships and really taking shelter of devotees is something which will really help us in our Krishna consciousness. And we see Dhruv Maharaj is doing the same here. And then he's being instructed on remembering the Supreme Lord, the one who holds the Saranga bow. And remembering the Supreme Lord, he will be able to conquer these mystics, the Yakshas. So it's almost time. I think we should conclude over here. Taking the opportunity of the purport today, I would like to humble myself. Even if it's fake, I would like to bow down in front of all you Vaishnavas and take refuge and take blessings that I'm able to get some taste in chanting the holy names, and I'm able to get closer to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas. Please bless me. Thank you so much. Any questions, comments, or feedback? Yes, Maharaj. It's one of the most beautiful questions asked. If last Friday we were talking about the topic of the conversation of the discourse was renunciation, and we were talking about what really is renunciation, because we see the most exemplary devotees are actually either the kings of the entire creation, just like Parikshit Maharaj, Arjuna, Bharat Maharaj, and these people were loaded. They were really rich. Bill Gates would come as paupers, begging for some money from them if they would would have been in this world today. So they were really, really rich. But what their consciousness was that all of this is not mine, all of this is Krishna's. So when we say desire for wealth, it is not that we don't encourage having money, or we don't want to be wealthy. We want to be rich. To run an organization like ISKCON, we need a lot of money. Just the daily flowers which are offered to Radha Gopinath. Flowers are really expensive, especially in Australia. So just to for the service of the Lord. So our conception towards renunciation is that it's called Yukta Vairagya, where you accept things which are favorable in Krishna consciousness and reject things and dovetail things, material things in Krishna service, and whatever you think is not is something you cannot use in Krishna service. For example, this judgmental mentality which I just spoke about, or the envy, the disquality called envy. These things are something which you can't really engage in the service of the Lord, because if you judge devotees, you really aren't a devotee anymore. If you are blaspheming devotees, you aren't, or being envious of them, you're not a devotee anymore. But wealth, the goddess of fortune, one of the four sampradayas come from Devi Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is the wife of the Supreme Lord. She's the goddess of fortune. So we definitely want money. We definitely take refuge of the goddess of fortune. We want money so that we can engage that money in the service of the Supreme Lord. So that we are able to have first class DT worship standards. So that last class I was telling how Srila Radhanath Maharaj, so the construction had finished, and Gauranga Prabhu, who's Maharaj's disciple, he was finally taking a sigh of relief that okay, all the construction is finished and we can finally have the temple revamped, open and everything. And Srila Radhanath Maharaj walks into the temple hall and he says, I want the temple hall to be AC, air conditioned. And Gauranga Prabhu says, Maharaj, when we have Bhagavatam classes, they are already sleeping and they're dozing off. If you put ACs, and Maharaj said he wants ducts, ACs. If you get the hall air conditioned, they'll get the pillows also to sleep during the Bhagavatam class. And Srila Radhanath Maharaj said, no, this is AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's temple, so we definitely need ACs. And Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Ekya, and the Gauranga Prabhu took the trouble and got the entire hall air conditioned. And so I'm stating this example to make a point that so getting an air conditioned hall, that is pretty luxurious, and that is you need money for that. But what is happening here is that money is being used, Lakshmi is being used in Narayan's seva. So that is, does that answer your question? Temple renovation. So if you're able to ask Lord for money in that consciousness, that if I have money, I can use it in your service, and I can use it in the service of the Vaishnavas, the community. I can give it back to the society through Krishna consciousness. If you're able to pray with that consciousness, then it's not a materialistic prayer. It is a spiritual prayer, because you're exactly. So having desires is not wrong, but having the intention behind those desires is what really makes those desires right or wrong. Just like again, Radhanath Maharaj, he would give this example that a knife, is it good or bad? If a knife is in the hand of a robber to stab someone, it is bad. But if the knife is in the hand of a doctor, of a surgeon who's doing a surgery with that knife, then that knife is glorious. That knife is good. So the intention behind our prayers really matters. Thank you so much, Shraddha.